It's been a very good last 3 days if you have been a bull, and we are counting down to a close of yet another positive session. You're watching Midcap Radar live from the CNBC-TV18 Motilal Oswal studios. I'm Hormuz Fatakia. With me as always is Vivek Iyer. Vivek, good afternoon. We're back above 22,900 now, but the broader markets have been the stars of today's trading session.
Absolutely right. Good afternoon, Hormuz. Mid-cap index, small cap, and mid-cap index is up 2.5%. Small cap index is up well over 2%. Very, very strong session as far as the broad end of the markets are concerned. Advance decline ratio, very, very strong. We have quite a lot lined up on the show. Let's start off with the top headlines. Markets in the green, mid-cap index gallops near 2.5%, with over 5 stocks advancing for every 1 declining. ITM, FMCG are the sole laggards.
The DGTR has recommended the imposition of a 12.5% safeguard duty on imports of flat steel products for 200 days to ward off dumping from countries like China. Ferrous stocks rally between 2 to 7%. Other metal shares like Hindustan Zinc and Midhani also shine with the sentiment rub-off.
Power stocks surge in trade on the back of rising demand ahead of summer. Data shows that power generation has risen 9% year-on-year in March, with power demand up 4% in 2025 so far.
Mahindra Life Spaces has also gained in today's session after it has partnered with Livingston Infra for a cluster redevelopment project in Mumbai with a gross development value of 1,650 crore rupees. Meanwhile, its subsidiary Mahindra World City has executed a lease deed for nearly 19-acre land in Tamil Nadu. The stock is up over 6.5%.
Indigo parent Interglobe Aviation gains in trade after management guides for a very strong Q4 quarter. Company expects 20% capacity growth on a year-on-year basis in FY25.
And we'll hear more from Vinny in just a bit. But the index 22,920 now is just 40 more points. And once we get to 22,964, we'll be up 1,000 points from the lows of the 4th of March, which was 21,964. And in just 10 trading sessions, this is the kind of move that we have seen on the index. But the stars of today's trading session, no doubt, have been the broader markets. The mid-cap index and the small-cap index, both of them have seen some very, very healthy gains, continuing their rebound as well. The mid-cap index, when we left the show half an hour ago, was up around 1,100 points. It's now up 1,250 points. The small-cap index, too, is up around well over 2%, both of them trading at the highest point of the day in today's trading session. But there are plenty of other movers in the broader markets. Vamakshi is here to tell us just those. Vamakshi, good afternoon.
Well, good afternoon, Hormuz. Big moves for the mid-cap index, and there are quite a lot of stocks that are abuzz in trade today. Advanced decline ratio largely in favor of the advances. Let's look at some of the stocks that are contributing to these gains. Tanla Platforms is the first one. That stock has surged by almost 16% in the trading session today. In fact, this is the biggest intraday gain since December 2023. For HBL Engineering, the stock is up nearly 13.5%. Again, the biggest intraday gain since November 2023. GR Infra Projects 2 has cooled off from the day's highest point, but nevertheless, that stock is trading with gains of nearly 10%. And Jai Prakash Power is another counter, up nearly 10% in trade. Apart from that, let's look at some of the defense stocks because they are firing in trade today. Look at Garden Reach Shipbuilders. That stock has climbed by almost 20%. Moscow Dock is another such counter, up 11%. We also have Bharat Dynamics as well as Cochin Shipyard, up anywhere between 8 to 9%. Apart from that, let's also focus in on some of the sugar counters because they are sweetening the deal for most of the people who are invested in them. Look at Balrampur Chini. That stock has surged, to 8%. Sri Renuka, Bajaj Hindustan, and Dhampur Sugar are some of the counters that are surging anywhere between 4 to 5%. Apart from that, a lot of realty stocks are in focus. Keep in mind that Realty Index was one of the top sectoral gainers in trade yesterday, and in fact, it continues to be one such index in the trading session today as well. Prestige Estates is trading close to the day's highest point, up nearly 6.5%. Mahindra Lifespace has significantly cooled off from the day's highest point, but up nearly 5% as well. Macrotech Developers up 5%, and Godrej Properties also up us in trade today. Lastly, on the flip side, let's also look at some of the stocks who are taking a hit in such a strong market. Mastech is one such counter. The stock has surged by almost 15% yesterday. So we're seeing some profit booking out here. Phoenix Mills, Craftsman Auto, as well as Avanti Feeds are some of the counters that are declining in trade today.
Thank you so much, Vamakshi, for joining us and giving us a neat wrap of what exactly is transpiring as far as the broader end of the markets are concerned. Moving on, let's now welcome Jay Thakkar from ICICI Securities for a technical check on the market. Good afternoon, Jay. Thank you so much for joining us. The mid-cap index up 2.5%, small-cap index up another 2%. Where do you see the markets headed from here on?
Good afternoon to Vivek and Homas. Well, we have seen a good sharp recovery, and we have been holding a view that index is likely to bounce towards the levels of 23,000, and here we see almost 22,900 plus levels coming on the Nifty. I think that Vivek, 23 and to 23,200 levels will be tested on the upside. I mean, if you see the previous counter trend rallies, I mean, those have been in the range of 1,500 to 1,000 points on an average. You can see 1,200 to 1,250 points move from 22,000. That would get Nifty, or maybe 21,950. That would get Nifty to 23,000 to 23,200 range. I mean, that looks quite likely, and we have been seeing that most of the sectors, apart from Nifty IT, have been clearly showing the signs of recovery. So Nifty IT and Nifty Auto, these have been two sectors which are relatively underperforming the overall bounce back in the markets, and most of the beaten down names in the markets. I mean, there is where we have been clearly seeing short covering happening. I mean, on index, we have already seen short covering that has started, and there was a huge one yesterday as well. Stock specifically and sector specifically as well. I mean, we all know that railway and defense were the one which topped out earlier before the October, and those are the places where we are seeing good recovery now coming in. That clearly indicates that broader markets bounce back is likely to continue, and they might even outperform the Nifty for coming days going forward. So I think if you get a good support capital goods as well as the auto, then I think the rally can further extend towards 23,500 as well. As far as stock specific ideas are concerned, Vivek, I have one buy recommendation on CDSL. I mean, Nifty capital market sector is doing good, and CDSL is trading around the levels of 1158, 1160. I'm expecting this stock to inch towards 1200 to 1240. One can place a stop loss below 1130 and go long on CDSL. And second buy recommendation is on LIC Housing Finance, which is trading around the levels of 553. I'm expecting this stock to bounce back until 570. One can stop loss below 548 and go long here as well. So these are the
a bit of a patchy line there with Jay, but yes, recommendations on CDSL and on LIC Housing, and the capital market names are staging a bounce back from their respective lows that they made earlier in the month of March, be it CDSL, Angel One, all of them, even BSE for that matter. And Jay has a buy recommendation on CDSL. But we take a short break on this note. But before we do that, here's some good news for our viewers. India's business news leader is now just a click away, and that's CNBC-TV18's all-new app, which gets you instant access to breaking news, in-depth articles, and financial world updates right at your fingertips. You can download the app from the App Store or the Google Play Store, or scan the QR code that's on your screen. We take a short break. More on the markets on the other side. Welcome back. The index continues to remain around that mark of 22,920. Some flashes on your screen for NBCC as well. It has sold 1,046 residential units at Aspire Centurion Park in Noida for around about 2,500 crore rupees. So the stock also seen a slight spike after this announcement, 3.5% higher on the stock. But some of the other movers in the broader markets, of course, we speaking a lot about the gainers today, but some of the losers though in today's session include Mastech. Of course, Mastech went up on a great deal yesterday. I was up almost 17%, seeing some bit of profit booking in today's trading session, as is Phoenix Mills. That stock is also down 3.5%. Godfrey Phillips, Craftsman Automation. Of course, the losses are not significant in comparison to the gains, but they're still trading with losses on a day when the mid-cap index is up almost 1,300 points. But moving on, a stock that is in fact soaring into new skies is Indigo, and that is on the back of some positive comments that the company made at the analyst meet. Vinny is joining in with more details on that. Vinny.
Afternoon. So yes, the analyst meet is still underway, but we have some key highlights that have come in from the analyst meet. One, the CEO has said and guided for a very strong Q4 FY25 number, where we are seeing and expecting to see somewhere around 20% capacity growth on a year-on-year basis. Other than that, the yields are expected to be better than what their guidance has been. Some of the key highlights that also came in terms from the presentation as well was that the company said that one, they will plan to add one aircraft per week. So that is a rapid expansion strategy that they are talking talking about. They've highlighted previously as well that by FY30, they want to reach those 600 aircrafts. FY26 is expected to see significant additions in terms of those aircrafts, and obviously keeping that market share is going to be the focus area for the company. Other than that, they've spoken about aiming to take that international capacity to 40% by FY30, currently at around 28% for the company. Number of passengers, that is also expected to double by FY 2030 is what we're talking about in terms of the year. And also do not forget, that A321 XLR, they are expected to start coming in terms of deliveries for Indigo, and that will be in FY26. So they will plan to add more international routes. Long haul routes could be seen as an addition coming in terms of the destination, more in terms of Asia. Europe is what we are watching out for. So yes, that's the latest update that we have coming in. And apart from that, we do have a Nuvama alternate research also that's come out with a note that is saying that there's a high chance that we could see Indigo getting added to the Nifty 50 in the September review and replacing Hero Motor. That's the word actually coming out as of now. And they believe that the stock could do well and can slowly head towards the 5,600 to 5,700 levels. Today, intraday, it did manage to touch a 52-week high as well.
Thank you so much, Vinny, for joining in and telling us what exactly has transpired as far as the analyst meet for Interglobe Aviation is concerned. And will the stock make an entry into the Nifty? That's what all eyes will be on as far as the next index review is concerned. But I'm watching out for the entire power sector. Remember, it's the upcoming summer season that is in focus. And typically, we do see demand trends getting better every time summer's around the corner. So what is it that analysts are penciling in? Number one, data indicates that the February 2025 power demand was up almost 6% on a year-on-year basis. One thing to keep in mind was that last year we did see 29 days as far as the month of February was concerned. Now, along with that, March generation trends have been very strong. It's up almost 9% on a year-on-year basis. YTD for FY25 demand is up 4%, and analysts expect that it should end close to 4.5% to 5% as far as FY25 is concerned. We are talking about the power demand trends. A couple of brokerages have written on the power sector the last couple of days. Jefferies today says that power demand generally picks up in summer on the back of soaring temperatures. Along with that, they're saying key stock driver going forward will be demand, which is apart from the near-term story that actually analysts are penciling in. Along with that, they do say that JSW Energy and NTPC are their key and top picks. Axis Capital too has written. Axis Capital says March 2025 electricity consumption has been quite strong so far, up 6.6% on a year-on-year basis. Peak demand in March 2025 has been 235 gigawatts, which is up 6.1% on a year-on-year basis. And in February, it was up 6.9% on a year-on-year basis. So, Hormas, last couple of months, February and March, no surprise, mercury has been rising as far as the temperature is concerned. And along with that, power demand has been rising usage of air conditioners in domestic households, and also rising manufacturing demand is something that aided power demand. And most of the analysts on the street are now constructive as far as power stocks are concerned.
You and I are equally responsible for this rise in power demand. No stranger to that. But yes, of course, good going for a lot of these power sector names, be it Tata Power, be it NTPC. REC just came out with a dividend announcement as well just a few minutes ago. And that stock too has been seeing some bit of recovery from the lows. But we take a short break on this note. More on the markets on the other side. Stay tuned.
When the conversation with H2 started, I think 2 or 3 months before that, we started our Series B process. We run the ship. Yeah. So
there's no change in that.
No change in that.
Even though ownership has changed completely.
Yeah. So we operate from Jaipur. We'll continue to operate from Jaipur. I think it's more about, there's a difference in the cap table before versus now. Whatever we can do, say next 5 years, with them we can do it in 2 years. We needed money, and by then, of course, we never had a lot of savings, right? So we asked our parents, and you'll not believe that, they said that, we can mortgage the house, raise a debt, and actually that is how our journey started. 70% of those products will not get the claims that they are reporting. From now on, you will start to see companies which will win this market because they have better product. Regulations is not very stringent. You can buy a 5-star rating on any e-com by paying 30-40 rupees. That's true. Most
And it's
companies
happening.
It's happening.
It's prevalent.
It's prevalent. Everyone does that. We never did it.
Welcome back, and we're speaking about a lot of these movers in the broader markets in today's session. Tata Communications is one of them, and that's because of the fact that JM Financial has initiated coverage on the stock. It's a buy recommendation there. It's a 2,030 rupee price target. It is implying a potential upside of around 35% from yesterday's close. Right. What they also said is the fact that they are valuing their core data segment business at around 11 times FY27 EV to EBITDA, and that's a slight premium to their historical average, which is around 10.2 times. But why is the premium so? This premium is because of the fact that they're expecting this data segment's EBITDA to grow at a 21% CAGR over the next 4 years. That's between FY24 to 28. And this digital portfolio of the company is expected to be a long-term growth driver for them. Now, they had laid out some targets which they planned on achieving for FY27, and they believe that because of these global macro uncertainties, that may not happen. It may get delayed by a year into FY28, or they may resort to the inorganic growth route to achieve those targets in FY27. So, and these weak global macros, the delayed discretionary spends, and an unfavorable AGR ruling are some of the key risks that Tata Communications has, is what JM Financial is highlighting. So good day for the stock and recovering some of the losses there. And over the last 2 weeks, the stock has seen a surge of over 12%.
Also aided by the fact that you saw a double upgrade coming from ICICI Securities. I remember you highlighting it maybe a couple of weeks ago, right? Yeah. So brokerage is turning positive as far as Tata Communications is concerned. Stock trading at the day's highest point or close to the day's highest point, almost 4% higher. But the other stock in focus today is Muthoot Finance. The stock has surged in trade today. This on the back of positive commentary by the management. The company expects a 40% AM growth in FY25 versus the guidance earlier of 25 to 30%. In fact, earlier today, we spoke to the company's MD, George Alexander Muthoot. Let's listen in to what he had to say.
We always keep a rate of our net interest margin, maybe 10% or so. Yearly, 10 plus or minus, plus or no, 10 to 11 is what we usually keep. Our microfinance had a portfolio of about 10,000 plus crores maybe 6 months back. Now they are moderating it. It is about 8,000 to 9,000. It has come down. So rather, they are moderating the growth. So if we see another 2 quarters of the issue that pressure in the microfinance, but I think after 2 quarters, it will stabilize. We are almost touching 40% this year. So probably, so as of today, when we reach that 1 lakh crore, we have already reached 38%. So I think we should do better. As usual, next year also, we will be giving a guidance of 15% only, sir. So we will do better, but our guidance will always be that, and we plan to do definitely better. We hope to do better. Of course, the base has gone up from earlier 72,000 crores to 1 lakh crore. So any percentage is big number today.
Well, very important comments coming there from Muthoot Finance. Remember the AUM growth guidance that the company has given of over 40%. There will be a certain amount of gold tonnage also on the back of the fact that gold prices too have hit historically high levels. So that particular stock doing very well. But with that, it's all the time we have on this edition of Midcap Radar. As you can see on the top of your screen, we leave you with the midcap side of the market in very healthy shape. Your stocks when we return.